let's roll in here into the next lesson, which is how to write content leveraging Jasper. And, of course, it's a great tool, but the tool is only as good as knowing how to use it and direct Jasper. And so that's why we call it boss mode. So basically think you're the boss and Jasper is your assistant. So if you're a freelance writer or a copywriter, content marketer, give yourself a promotion and become the boss, become the editor in chief here, where you're thinking strategically with this keyword research, then going into Jasper with a plan and having your assistant write this content, and now you become the editor. And so I would love, Osama, for you to kind of break down, how do you use Jasper? And then how do you also train your team of writers to use Jasper, one, to produce really high quality content, and two, to make sure that that content aligns with the keyword strategy to make that blog post actually rank on the first page of Google?
Yeah, so honestly, I would say that there is no one right way to produce content on Jasper. I mean, it's so diverse. It has so many features, so many recipes, and even your community, they've come up with, like, if you view the community page, there are so many recipes that applies to different websites, different niches. So I wouldn't really claim that there are ways the correct way, or the ones that your viewers are using, that's the incorrect way. But the one that we're using, it has just suited us more. It's worked well. It's worked well for us, and hopefully it would work well for you as well. Or if you're using your own way, that would work well too. Because again, there are so many different features that you can choose to produce content from. So yeah, the method we use is simply we hire freelance writers. They can either be experienced Jasper users or completely new. That really doesn't matter. We put them in the training testing phase either way. What I test them for is to not just to use Jasper, but to make the quality better. I also like evaluate them based on how well they're able to distribute that content in terms of the grammar, the formatting, the structure. Like Jasper you could produce 5,000 words with Jasper, but if the content or the quality of the content is subpar, then there's no point, right? You can produce 10K words, but if it's full of grammatical errors, or there's no sentence structure, or it's just random words or random sentences that are being produced, then there's no point to it. You can produce as much words as you want, but you'd still be on step one.
Awesome. Yeah. So of course, the training of Jasper comes in, how do you do the commands? And in fact, actually, we did an exercise with our team this past week on what are all the ways that you could command. And I'm really excited to share that here in the next 2 weeks or so of a whole list of new commands that Jasper follows super well. And, a command is basically literally telling Jasper, write a sentence, write a paragraph, compile your thoughts, make a summary, whatever that command is. And so would love to see, what you've created here, because as a community, this is basically a mastermind. How do we come together and think, what are the best ways to train this artificial intelligence to write better copy? So let me know, how have you been using it? And do you use any recipes or kind of a standard operating procedure?
Yeah, we do have a standard operating procedure. We're still looking into the recipe features because our set of client set is so diverse, because we have different websites that have different requirements, different niches. So we can't really just rely on a single recipe. So we're trying to work out our way as to what kind of recipes would suit us best in terms of the types of content we'll be producing. So that's still a work in progress. But we do have a standard operating procedure, and we do make use of the templates that Jasper has to offer. Let me just share my screen with you quickly. So here is the Jasper's main interface. Once you log in, you go to the documents. Simply, you see these are all of the articles that our writers have been producing. It's an ongoing process. So yeah, you create a new document, you start from scratch. What I typically like to do, so what we do is, typically, since we work with new websites, we want to see let's just assume that we've come up with the keywords, we've submitted the content plan, and we've received the approval from the client. So what we'll be doing is we'll be searching for those keywords online, and we'll be looking at the top 4 or 5 websites that are ranking for the same keywords. And it'll give us an idea that, okay, it's a low ranking keyword, but there are still 4 or 5 websites that are ranking. What are these secondary keywords they're using? How might they be distributing their content? And that's what we sort of need to emulate to ensure that our content ranks as well. So for that, I would say, okay, let's just open up our grilled vegetables healthy, the keyword that we figured out earlier. Yeah, so it gives us an output of this, the ultimate guide for the best grilled vegetables, are grilled vegetables healthy. Okay, so this one suits us a little more because the title is based on the keyword, and that's what we want. So yeah, this is a pretty good content, pretty good, well-written article that we can use, and it's ranking as well. So naturally, what we can do is we simply just copy the content verbatim, and let's just copy it by paragraph instead of the whole thing together. So yeah, we paste it on over here. This can be a subheading, but we don't want to copy it as it is because that's obviously illegal. We cannot. We use Jasper to get an idea from our competitor sites, and then we use its features to come up with its own original content. So let's see. We can type up the heading as "Are grilled vegetables healthy?" The first thing that I typically like to use is to go to the power mode. In the power mode, see, these are all of the templates. There's just an endless list. So yeah, that's what I said, that no matter what template you use, no matter what strategy you use, it's never really incorrect. It just depends on how you use it. So the first thing, we will go to a blog post intro paragraph. This is something that I like to use quite often, as Jasper produces an intro which is really smooth, and it really helps set the tone for the rest of the article. Yeah, so this is the tab that opens up. We're gonna be seeing, this
Looks like you're in the AIDA framework right now.
Yeah. Let me just refresh it. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna add in the blog post title, "Are grilled vegetables healthy?" Audience. The audience can typically vary depending on the content. So we're gonna be, in this case, the audience that we can use are to marketers, moms, health conscious people, health conscious. Okay, let's do that. So yeah, the tone of voice can be informative in this case, because this is, after all, an informational article. And we're gonna be using the, let me see. Yeah, we're gonna limit our output to 2, because 2 is pretty good as well. We're going to see what kind of article, what kind of statement or paragraph that it outputs. So we have these 2 outputs just now. Are grilled vegetables healthy? This is a common question that many people have. The answer to this question is, yeah, I think I would like to choose this one because it's a little more engaging. It sort of gives the audience an idea. Like, yeah, in this blog post, we'll be taking a closer look at the pros and cons of grilling veggies and help you decide if it's the right cooking method for you. Yeah, this is sort of out of context. It's the right cooking because we're not looking for a cooking method. We're searching for, let's try it again. The best feature about Jasper is that it just produces different content every time, so you have lots of options to choose from. And when you look into it, it's why I've kept the output to 2, because if I were to keep the output to 5 or 6, I would just go through each one individually and just get confused as to which one's better. So yeah. Okay, yeah, so this one seems a little more relevant. We can copy this and we can paste it over here. Grilled vegetables are popular summer dish. Are they really healthy? The answer depends on, yeah. The important part while you produce content on Jasper is that you need to ensure that you edit them as you proceed, because like I have Grammarly installed with me. So there's a small grammar issue over here. Plus, I feel that this sort of paragraph might be a little too long, so we can generally distribute it or divide it into two different paragraphs. Answer depends on how you prepare them. So this is sort of the opening statement that I'd like to go with, sort of give everyone an engaging idea as to what's to come. And then this is the general paragraph or the intro paragraph. So moving on, this is the intro paragraph that we've come up with using the blog post intro paragraph template. For the next step, what we can do is we can use our competitors' content to feed it to Jasper and then produce content that is based on it, but is completely new. So let's see, let's just copy this down. And for this, I'm going to be changing the template into the text summarizer. This strategy was actually told to me by Megan from customer success. She's the one who made the video for me and wrote down the article. She was really helpful with it. And ever since then, I've instructed my writers to use this as well, because it has cut down on our publishing time. And in our field, maintaining our publishing time is really important, because we're working on a budget as well. And we've hired writers on an hourly basis. So ultimately, we want them to cut down on publishing time. We were initially on maybe 1 hour, 20 minutes per article, but with this strategy, we've managed to cut it down to 40, 45 minutes. So it's been really helpful for us. It's been really efficient. So yeah,
that's awesome. So you're able to start from scratch with keywords in mind, of course, to publish a blog or have a blog post ready, first draft done in 45 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't use this too often now because I have writers to do this, so I might be a little slow. But the writers who do this on a regular basis, they're able to just quickly scroll through the tabs and paste the article and then come up. It doesn't take them more than 45 minutes, maximum 15 minutes, not more than that.
And
so yeah.
And so with that, is it a first draft or a final draft? Like, has it already been edited and like images included and kind of optimized for SEO?
From start to till the end, it takes about 50 minutes, which includes producing content through Jasper, adding images, making the SEO adjustments through the WordPress plugins, adding in internal, external links, backlinking, everything. It takes up to 45, 50 minutes.
Awesome. And what's the average length of a blog post that you deliver?
Typically, we have set a range between 1,000 to 1,200 words, but it also depends on the clients. For example, we do have certain clients who told us that, okay, for the package they purchased, they told us to come up with less keywords, let's say 50 keywords, not 100. And for each keyword, they wanted us to produce an article over 2,000 words. So we sort of adjusted based on that.
That makes sense.
So yeah, moving on, we simply copy paste this and we paste it over here. Let's just remove the paragraph and then we let's generate 2. So what this template does is it simply sort of summarizes the content into a short paragraph, but we're not going to be pasting that paragraph as it is. We're going to be using it to command Jasper to come up with a paragraph that's completely new. Yeah. This is just to get an idea of it. Let's see. So, okay. We're going to add up the asterisks over here. And we're going to command Jasper to write an article, write a paragraph. Paragraph.
And so just for the audience that might not know what 3 asterisks do, I want you to imagine that Jasper now has blindfolds on above. So it's blocked by these 3 asterisks to not read the content above and be influenced by it. And so now Osama is writing a command. Rather than trying to start the sentence and let Jasper finish it, you're actually instructing Jasper to run this command here.
So this is a paragraph. It's a pretty. Some people think they are not as healthy because they are cooked with heat. However, grilling back vegetables actually helps preserve the nutritional value. So yeah, this is Jasper, through the command I just gave, it output a paragraph, which is of a pretty good size, based on the blog post, and it's based its information from the paragraph that we copied from our competitor website. So what we can do is we can simply remove them because we're not going to be copying them, and we simply keep this as it is. And just like that, we move on to the next paragraph by paragraph. We'll do the same process, we'll repeat the same process, and we'll keep on giving commands to Jasper to come up with the paragraphs accordingly. It depends because sometimes you have to add the content accordingly. You might have to make a few manual adjustments as well, just to seek out relevance. But other than that, if the topic is good, if the topic is popular, and if you enter the right commands like this, then it should take you no longer than 45 minutes to. Actually, it takes about 20 minutes to come up with the entire article. The remaining 20 minutes are spent on adding images, adding backlinks, and making the SEO adjustments. So overall, it would take you about 45 minutes.
Cool. A couple notes here, just from our team's experience. Meg is really the queen on this. Is you got the blog post intro paragraph is awesome. And then if you do on power mode, we also have the blog post outline. So all you would have to do is give it here on the left-hand side. Why don't you find that one? The outline.
Blog post outline.
Yeah. So this is great. Once you have the title of your blog post and you're thinking, what are some good headings to fill out? This does a great job at giving you a solid outline. And sometimes what I find is, writers will cherry pick, different headlines throughout these ideas, but this gets the ball rolling. And so, yeah, using each of these is a tool in the tool shed, right? And so here you have the blog post outline, and, good writers will go in and be like, okay, well, this makes sense for the context. This one too, especially if you have, a keyword strategy for each of your H2s, then, this will really work well, and you can compile really the whole outline.
Exactly, but this is for sort of like, it gives us flexibility as to choosing from different headings that are available. But as a content writing service, we also have many clients who already have the headings defined for the keywords that we provide them. So what they do is they simply they provide us with the headings, and they ask us to generate content or paragraphs based on this specific heading. So for that method, what we typically do is we use the same method. We search the headings individually on Google. We go to our competitor site, and we use that information to generate Jasper content through giving Jasper commands. But in terms of flexibility, this is also a great way. Like, I've only added one output. If you add more outputs, it'll give you more options to choose from, and you can sort of pick the ones that are suited to your niche or suited to your topic.
Cool. Now, preparing for this training, I had asked a few of our other customers to request, the pros to answer here. So one of the questions is, what tips or tricks do you and your writers have to ensure like Jasper writes the highest quality? Is there, something that you can, is there any pre-framing that you need to do before Jasper writes to ensure that Is there better commands or ways that you found to ask Jasper to do something so that it writes better?
In terms of the pre-Jasper process, what we typically do, what I ask my writers is to ensure that they have Grammarly installed, is to ensure that they have access to Copyscape, and to ensure that they have access to sort of a dictionary as well, because these three tools are essential to come up with content. Grammarly, because you want to ensure that your content doesn't have any formatting errors. For example, there's a space between healthy and question mark. A lot of writers manually do this, but this grammatically is incorrect. So it's why Grammarly is so important, because it's sort of like, it's very convenient to use, and it just highlights all of the grammatical or the formatting errors that you're having, and it just gives you suggestions on how you can correct it. Not only that, but you can also sort of shape Grammarly based on your audience. For example, Grammarly has the option to set up its grammar based on the US audience, or US English, or UK English, or whatever different variations of English that are available. There are different regions to choose from. So if you select that option to sort of focus on a specific geographical location and its English variation, then Grammarly adjusts exactly according to that, and then highlights those words or the formatting errors accordingly. As for the
And quick tip on
Jasper,
that, if you look at the top right, you can see the Grammarly button. So we've partnered with Grammarly to here within Jasper, we have a native integration. So you don't even need a Grammarly account separately. We have Grammarly Basic right here built into Jasper if you activate it in the top right.
I think over here, right? Yeah, enable Grammarly. So yeah, as for the Jasper, as for using Jasper and its commands, this is the typical SOP that we use to come up with content. But our writers, since most of them have more experience than I do at this point, because they've been working for 3-4 months straight on a daily basis, and I often ask them to sort of experiment with the content or set up a sample article with a different strategy. So there are, what I would say is that try experimenting with different templates, use recipes, because we're still working on a recipe, especially if you're sort of, if you have a personal website, or you're an individual or a team that has a website and has everything figured out in terms of the niche, in terms of the keywords and everything, then the best way to produce content quickly and effectively would be by using recipes. If you ever look at the Jasper community, you'll find that so many users, the community there is so helpful, because they've posted their own secret ingredients, their recipes. And if you choose the one that fits you the most, then you can sort of rapidly produce content without having to edit much of it. That would exponentially increase your output as well as the quality of the content. But as for us, since we have a very diverse set of clients, like I said, there are different templates, there are different features that we use. Sometimes if nothing comes up on Jasper, we simply use the rephrase tool to sort of mix it up with that specific paragraph. The one important thing about the rephrase feature is that it's not a content spinner. I think a lot of people are under the misconception that it's just a plain old content spinner. It's not. The best part about Jasper's rephrase feature is that it not only rephrases or restructures the content, but it also additionally adds content to it. Like it adds additional information, or it adds value to that statement or the paragraph that you're rephrasing. So this is also a very good tool to use if you're unable to sort of use the text summarizer feature or the blog intro paragraph. You can simply use the rephrase feature, and Jasper will do such a great job at adding additional content and restructuring the entire paragraph.
So cool. Yeah. And I think if you go to community.jasper.ai in your browser here, then you'll find recipes. And because we are already pretty far into this training, we're not going to go deep into recipes, but wanted to explain some of these here, and you can just go ahead and click on the very first one as an example. But this is a series of commands, kind of like a standard operating procedure, where you have and it compounds on itself and learns. So write a brief for why vegetables are healthy, and then write blog title ideas for the above, and it reads that. And then once it comes up with those ideas, it'll write an introduction and then a blog outline, and then it'll write paragraphs for each one of these sections. So this makes it easy to literally save into your account, copy and paste, and then now you can quickly ideate upon this. We found that our most efficient users have maybe started here, but then they've gone upon this and created their own framework, their own recipe, sometimes just for internal work. They can also share that. And so that's where, if you go back a page, the community has come up with their own. And so some of these recipes are for, writing scripts for their YouTube channel, or very specific types of blog posts, such as a product review blog post. And the outline of that might be a different kind of blog post than if you were to do more of a listicle or a think tank article. Like, these are different types of articles. And so more tools in your tool belt for you to save time. But this is what, scaling content can really look like, and getting down these efficient processes.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the additional advantages that I'd just like to point out is that a lot of these recipes, regardless of what you use, what type you use, they're gonna be heavily optimized in terms of SEO. No matter what kind of recipe you use, you're gonna be essentially commanding Jasper, and what the type of content that Jasper would produce would really, really help your website or your channel, or whatever whatever template you're using. It would help it to grow and attract traffic. This is something that I've sort of personally witnessed as well. We're not essentially using this as part of our service, but I have played around with Jasper for our personal site as well as some experimenting on a personal level, and it works really, really well in terms of SEO optimization.